Hi Francine, it's Fancy, and I guess everyone should expect to have at least one project in color that they don't sail right through. So this one is maybe your Achilles heel, and that's okay. So I think the changes that you have made um, are working better than the previous iteration. Um, what I told people in critique, and I'd like to know what kind of feedback you got in critique. What I told others in critique is maybe a strategy for doing this is building your design like you would any of the others that we have. So if you're working with visual pathways, you gradate within the pathways, you make sure that every part of the composition is part of a pathway. Or if you're doing points of emphasis, you decide on how many points of emphasis you're going to use, where you're going to place them, are they balanced, are they unified, and you use the colors in your scale at full strength. And then once that composition is completed and you're satisfied with it, you like the gradations, you like the unity, etc., then you go back and you add the water in. You go back and you start to blur the boundaries between your pathways or the boundaries between your points of emphasis with lots and lots of water. And then in that way, the fire becomes the visual interest in your design. And the fire is just strategically distributed throughout the design. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's kind of like piling the water on last, working with fire, fire, fire everywhere until it's balanced, it's unified, and then putting the water on it. I still like the concept of in focus, out of focus better, but that's a strategy you could use. So back to this composition. So I feel like these two areas are unifying better than this one. And what I see in these two that I don't see in this one is that reciprocating pink interruption. And I think you could go with more water. You've got some kind of overallness in the water. There is a possibility that maybe you are making this too hard. Maybe you're striving for some really individual kinds of unique shapes within your composition. But then, of course, that was at my request to break up kind of the mountains that you had before. So back to the water. Those chromatic grays. There's only maybe two, maybe there are two, maybe three if you have a particularly long or large scale with many steps. So there's just two chromatic grays in or near the middle of your scale, near the middle or in the middle of your scale. Excuse me. And the majority of that water will be broken up with large areas of those two values, and then kind of gradating to maybe areas of fire or gradating to values that are closer to one perceptual opposite or the other, or gradating from one perceptual opposite to the other. So you need to kind of work on your gradations, like in here, these value steps, or these steps are next to each other, are too far apart on the scale. So I hate to ask you, but kind of keep moving forward. So think about what else you could do. Do you need to approach this in a different way? Maybe you need to build these shapes before you start piling the water on. So making sure that they are unified, that they're well positioned within the composition, etc. I hope that helps. I feel like I'm not helping you here much. But if anyone can do it, I know that you can do it.